The second point we can learn from the baptism of Jesus is that Jesus, though he has no sin, accepted to be baptized in obedience to the will of the Father. I believe for all of us who have been baptized, during our baptism we have mixed up promises. Or for those who are baptized who, when they were children, the parents and the godparents made promises on their behalf. And every year during Easter season, the church gives us opportunity to renew those baptismal promises. Are we faithful to those promises? Because being faithful to those promises, it means that we are submitting ourselves in obedience to the will of God. So if we are not faithful to our baptismal baptism, Jesus, through his baptism, is challenging us again today that we have to keep those promises. Because it is in keeping those promises that we submit ourselves to the will of God. And it's only when we submit ourselves to the will of God, we can become of great help to God's family, of which baptism makes us members. So it's very important to think about our living out our baptism, keeping our baptismal promises. Another thing we have to also pay attention to is the importance of prayer. You see, in the gospel reading, they said, and when Jesus also had been baptized and was praying. He was praying. The reason why many of us are not able to keep our baptismal promises is that we don't accompany our journey with prayer. If I want to look at the life of Jesus, especially in the Gospel of Luke, prayer is a very, very important element, a very important component in the life of Jesus. And that is why for every decision that Jesus makes, he always begins that decision with prayer. You can think about when he wanted to choose his disciples. He prayed first. At the agony, he prayed. Even on the cross, he prayed. At different moments of his life, he prayed. He always communed with the Father so that he's able to find the grace to fulfill the mission for which he has come into the world. So prayer is significant if we want to journey and live out our baptismal promises. Very, very important. Because in prayer, we unite ourselves with God, telling God that I am not able to do this alone. I need your help. I need your grace. I need you to journey with me so that I'm able to do this. Today also, the baptism of the Lord, as I said already, marks the end of the Christmas season. Because from now onward, all the readings will be telling us about the ministry of Jesus. How Jesus goes out preaching, healing, bringing good news to the poor, and helping others who are in need. Through our baptism, we share in the office of Christ. We become part of Christ himself. The church teaches us that Christ has three offices: the office of a priest, the office of a king, and the office of a prophet. And through our baptism, we share the mystery offices of Christ, which means all of us here, we are priests, we are prophets, we are kings. And as a priest, what does it do? It offers worship to God. All of us baptized are called to offer worship to God and to help other people to do the same. As king, he has come to establish a kingdom where justice, peace, fairness, caring, love, kindness, forgiveness. And we as baptized Christians was to share in this kingly office of Christ. That through the way we live our life, we should bring about God's forgiveness, God's love, God's mercy, God's kindness, God's concern for everybody. Bring about equality. That is how we rule as children of God. And as prophets,
We are called to take the message, the good news for which Christ came to others. Not just living it in our own life, but sharing it with other people. You see that the baptism we have received actually comes with a lot of responsibility. So when you are baptized, remember you become a priest, you become a king, you become a prophet. And you don't just bear these names, you have to live them out the way you lead your life. So from tomorrow, all the readings will be focusing on the ministry of Jesus, how he goes about doing his work. The Christmas season, the period of Christmas, is also, beginning from Advent, it's actually helping us to know who Jesus is, the Son that has been born to us, who he is. The question I may put before you is, have you really known him? The Jesus we have celebrated in this Christmas. Have you known him? Because it's only when you know him that you can join him in the ministry, in this public ministry of taking him to others. Only if you have known him. So the question I will ask, have you really known him during this season of Christmas? Or have you allowed the external celebrations and joy and moving about food and all that distract you from getting to know him? Because if you don't know him, you cannot be a witness. Because that is also one of the calling of our baptism, to become witness. So, the church still gives us opportunity of knowing him, of making him to become part of our life's journey. I would like to end with this short story. During the period of Christmas, like we do in many of the parishes, in this particular parish, the MYM, they were preparing a drama, a show about the birth of Jesus and the visit of the wise men. So one of the characters, his name is Christopher, he was supposed to act as an innkeeper. Remember in the story, they say when it was time for Mary to put to bed, they went to an inn and they told them there was no space. So they were acting the play. When they now get to the role of Christopher, of when Joseph and Mary comes and knock at the door to open the inn. We don't know, fortunately, when the person acting as Jesus and Mary, when they came to knock at the door, when Christopher opened the door, he was dumbfounded, like he forgot the line he has memorized. He was quiet for some time and later said, "You can take my room, you can use it." And the people burst into laughter. Yes. But when you reflect on his response, though it might be funny, but there is a profound message in the response of Christopher. We have celebrated Christmas. Today, we are presented about the baptism of Jesus and how he's going to begin his public ministry. What are you asking Jesus to do? Are you giving Jesus the room of your heart so that he can take it? For Christopher, though he has given that answer innocently, but there is a deep meaning in it. Are we giving Jesus the room of our heart that he can take it and walk with us and be in charge of it, to animate, to guide, to direct, and to give substance to all that we do? It is very important. So as we begin this season of ordinary time, which will be entry from tomorrow, let us ask ourselves these important questions. The Jesus I have celebrated in Christmas, has it found a place in my heart? The baptism of Jesus that I remember today, that equally reminds me of my baptism, has a meaning, like something to teach me. How have I taken my baptism, my baptismal promises? Do I take them serious? Today, the readings are challenging us because, as the second reason says, The coming of Christ, the baptism of Christ, is a grace that God has given us. I'll read it for you. He said, "For the grace of God has appeared for the salvation of all people, training us to renounce irreligion and worldly passions, and to live sober, upright, and godly lives in this world." That is the purpose for which Christ has come. That he will help us not just to become children of God, but to live upright life, rejecting, renouncing every form of irreligion. So as we begin this period of ordinary time, let the experience of Christ, which we have heard during this season of Christmas, help us to journey with him. May God continue to strengthen us, give us the grace we need to be true Christians and to be witness to all those we encounter in our daily lives. To see Yesu Kristo.